It's been 2 weeks since the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2, and that means it's also been 2 weeks since Mario Kart World was released. So, what do I think of this new entry in the Mario Kart series that's been 11 years in the making? Let's watch and find out. I've never considered myself a huge Mario Kart fan. I played the occasional Double Dash, Wii, 8 Deluxe, but I always saw Mario Kart as more of a party game. A game you throw on when you have some friends over and want to have a good time. I never thought the series would ever captivate me enough in any way to ever want to play it by myself. Of course, that's until Mario Kart World. Originally developed with the original Switch in mind, it quickly became apparent that the hardware wouldn't be able to support the vision that the team had for this next entry. In a similar fashion to Tears of the Kingdom, where that game shifted from expansion to full-blown sequel because the scope was much larger than an expansion could afford, Mario Kart World shifted its release to the Switch 2 to help fully realize the vision the team had for this next entry. Was it the right move? I'd like to think so. So the big thing in Mario Kart World is you can drive virtually anywhere. And yeah, you technically can drive anywhere. The world crafted in Mario Kart World is beautiful, bright, oozing with charm. I remember seeing that reveal trailer for the first time and hearing the news that you could drive anywhere, and I immediately went to thinking, is this like Forza Horizon? My interest was piqued, so hopping in for the first time was super exciting. Littered throughout the open world are P-switch challenges to test your skills. Or not. Some can be fairly easy, while others had me grabbed by the ankles for 30 minutes, making me wonder whether or not I should still be playing. But they are fun for the most part. Then there are mystery panels that you can drive over and gold medallions you can collect. Panels can be on walls requiring you to use the new trick system to reach them, or just on the ground for you to drive right over. And the medallions are scattered about, placed in locations that typically require you to think creatively to get to them. Unfortunately, these rewards for these challenges, panels, and medallions result in collectible stickers that you can choose from as an icon that displays on your profile, or in the lobby when racing with players. They're also put on your cart, but they're hard to notice unless you look out for them. You only need a handful collected to actually unlock the secret mirror mode, which can be used in both standard race modes and free roam if you drive into Peach's stained glass window in the Peach Stadium area. Other than that, you can find costumes for almost every character in the game, so you can drive in style with most of your favorites. Pair that with the game's photo mode, which arguably isn't anything more than what you might have come to expect from a photo mode in a game, and you may be in for a good time snapping pictures across the many vistas with your favorite characters. Many of the characters have 5 or more costumes to collect, and some oddly having less than that. Donkey Kong, for instance, only has 2, with one being his default look, which is kinda weird. Not sure if we're getting some crossover stuff with Bonanza later, but I found it odd. Getting around to unlocking these costumes requires you to find Dash Food, a new item in Mario Kart World, which allows you to get a boost when consuming and gives you a chance to unlock a new outfit. You should be able to find a handful of the costumes naturally by playing with every character, but some will require you to find the Dash Food in a specific area. So, if you want Waluigi in what I'm calling his Count Wacula outfit, you'll need to find that Dash Food in the Boo Cinema track area, which makes sense. I do wish there was an alternate way to unlock costumes, maybe with the coins you collect in the open world or from races, since in order to unlock every costume in the game, it requires you to race as every character and find their costumes. Instead, these coins just unlock more carts for you to use in the game, with a total of 40 to unlock over time. All in all, I think the open world is great in the first few opening hours. It's a fine mode to just relax around in, completing challenges and finding costumes and panels and medallions, but that's really it. I mean, you could race the tracks in the game and look for shortcuts and whatnot, practicing for better times, but for me, I just want to get to the races. Tracks are what you've come to expect from Mario Kart. There aren't really any that I actively dislike. In fact, I really love all of them. There are some tracks returning from previous games like Toad's Factory and Peach Beach, but done in a way to accommodate the new 24 player count for races. And yeah, you heard that right. You thought Mario Kart used to be a chaotic mess with just 12 racers? You're in for a treat with this one, because these races, especially when you're in the middle of the pack, can become a freaking war zone, with bullet bills, mega mushrooms, and the like going off at every freaking turn. Rainbow Road makes its expected return, and my god, is it beautiful. It's a multi-layered track that's much more than the Rainbow Road you've come to expect. Just make sure you place top 3 in all the Grand Prix in order to unlock that special cup that contains it. And speaking of the Grand Prix, they're a little different this time around. You start with your expected 3-lap race, but when you move on to that next track, 2 or 3 of your laps, sometimes more, is spent racing to the next track, with the final lap taking place on the track you've been racing towards. While this was really cool at the beginning, I couldn't help but think how I wish I could just select a classic Grand Prix option where every track is raced on for at least 3 laps. It just feels like this new twist kind of leaves you wanting to spend more time on the tracks you ultimately only race on for 1 lap before you repeat the process all over again, heading on to the next track. It feels even more apparent because the racing that happens on the way to your next track is a lot more open and not as interesting as the tracks themselves. And just so I can knock it out right now, the trick system is amazing. It opens up so many ways to master tracks and find shortcuts. I'm always impressed by what I've seen people do already. In order to trick, you have to hold down drift without turning until you see your kart kind of squish down closer to the floor. Then you'll see a charge effect similar to what you see when you're drifting. At that point, you can just release drift and point in a direction, and you can jump to ride walls and grind rails and hop over obstacles. It's fun, but it definitely takes some time to get used to. Gone are also the days of kart customization. Karts and characters have predetermined stats now, encouraging more kart and character variation for races, which I think is a great addition. Now, getting to the other modes, there's Knockout Tour, which, in my opinion, I'm sure the vast majority of people will also agree, is the crown jewel of Mario Kart World. This is the mode that I think most people will continue to play, and then there's Battle Mode. Now, I've never been a Battle Mode kind of guy, but I played a few rounds of Coin Runners and one of Balloon Battle, and they're fine. They're a quick break away from all the racing, and I can see where some would find it fun, but that's all I really have to say on it. Now, Knockout Tour is the best mode in Mario Kart World. In Knockout Tour, you're set up in a very similar way to the Grand Prix mode, except you're fighting to keep on going in the race. You race across a set number of tracks and the roads that connect them while fighting to be in each lap's top positions. So if you need to be in 8th or higher, and you come in 9th, then I'm sorry, but you're knocked out. This mode does just enough to keep you coming back for more, and due to its elimination focus, the parts of the race that are out on that open road feel more engaging than in Grand Prix because you're always looking out for item boxes and ways to cut through the track and get ahead. Heck, you might even decide to hang back and secure some good items before trying to push through to the top. Not a strategy I use, but I know it's one that's worked. It just gets so exhilarating doing everything you can to remain in the race. There were so many times where I've zipped past getting eliminated right before a checkpoint by using the right item at the right time or locking in on that final turn. I know I've had to upset some people by those last second takeaways, but my god, it's so gratifying. Now against AI, since you can play this offline, it can be pretty tame. Although I'm pretty sure the AI is adaptive to your skill level because I've seen some of these freaks pull some insane stuff just to get ahead. But online, you better buckle up because that crap is like dropping in the middle of a war zone, especially in the first couple of laps when you're caught in the middle of the pack. Be prepared for every shell to fly by, bombs to be thrown, bananas being dropped, and for all of the high-level items to come out full swing. You are fighting for your life and no one is safe. It is such a freaking blast. Couple that with the amazing soundtrack for this game and you've got a heck of a time on your hands. Even when you're screaming at the top of your lungs for the 5-item barrage that just took you out before crossing the finish line and winning, you can't help but bop your head to the music. So many returning tracks have been remixed for World and my goodness, this is a soundtrack you can play anywhere. It's that good. And then there's playing with friends. You've got online and local options. Local multiplayer lets you enjoy all of the modes aside from free roam, and it's what you'd expect from your typical Mario Kart affair. Performance is on par with the single player experience, but similar to 8 Deluxe, once you get that 3rd and 4th player on, the frame rate is slashed in half. You'd hope to see the Switch 2 hardware finally be able to manage 60 FPS fully across the board, but despite the frame rate, I'm sure it's still to be a fun time. Now, online play is probably where you'll be engaging with the multiplayer the most. It's fun and it's simple to hop on with friends. You can play all the modes available with friends, so if you want to just free roam and drive around, you can. Although the P-Switch challenges aren't available from what I can tell. Just the mystery panels and I think the medallions, so if you want to hunt for those with friends, you're more than able to. The host is able to set up races, item intensity, and more while you're out driving, but unfortunately you can only set up these races against AI. So unless you have a boatload of friends to play with online, the only way as of now to play with friends and random players is for someone to join in on a lobby and for the other friend to join on that person before the lobby gets full. The thing is it's a bit inconsistent. Battle mode had the least amount of issues since I don't believe a lot of people are playing that mode. Races can be a hit or miss, but are a lot more successful to hop in by joining on a friend. And the Knockout Tour, as far as I can tell, is impossible. I don't know if it's the popularity of the mode, but a friend and myself tried to play Knockout Tour with other players and we couldn't get it to work. One of us would be hit with a message saying that we were unable to join without fail. So until Nintendo allows friends to start or join online modes from a created room to play with other players, this is the method to try. Hopefully it's just an oversight that'll get fixed soon though. But there you have it. Mario Kart World made me a believer in the franchise, that it can be a game that you can enjoy on your own and not just with your friends. I really do like playing in free roam and driving around to relax and just listen to the music. And honestly, I expected it to be the mode I'd be in the most, but I can't help but run races in Knockout Tour. Every Mario Kart game going forward needs to have this mode from here on out. Overall, Mario Kart World is a great game, and one I can highly recommend if you're a fan of Mario Kart or just looking for another game to start out your Switch 2 journey with. Although I do find it quite hard to justify an $80 price tag for it. My hope is that this higher than normal price of entry is just a gateway to free substantial updates throughout the game's life. As a game though, it's an easy thumbs up, and I do believe this will be the Mario Kart for the entire Switch 2 generation. So we'll see if it gets constant support, an expansion or two, or whatever else Nintendo has planned for it. Anyways, thanks for watching all the way through if you've made it this far in the video. It's crazy to see the little bit of growth on this channel since I started it back up a few weeks ago, so I'm just really thankful and working really hard to create videos that you and even myself can enjoy. With that said, if you enjoyed the video, please leave it a like as it helps push this video out to more people, subscribe if you're new, and leave a comment down below letting me know what you think of Mario Kart World so far. Other than that, you guys be safe, take care, and until next time, I'll see you later. Peace.